And Revelation 12 verse 13 says, and when the dragon saw that he'd been thrown down to earth, so this was part of the rebellion, how he said he would raise himself up above God, and he challenged God. So it was all the rebellion stuff. And he saw that he's now been thrown down to the earth. He pursued the woman who had given birth to the male child. So he goes after the church. He goes after Israel, which we are seeing happening in front of our eyes today. As we spoke also before, it's not that we're choosing sides. It's not that we're saying war is good. It's not that we're saying, that what's happening to the Palestinians isn't important as well. It's innocent women and children that are being, part of this war. And so it's just so sad to see, what is really going on. And so we're not choosing sides. We're not, putting Israel over and above everything else. And we just, all we know is that God and God alone can deal with this. And he knows what he's doing. And we can only pray that the leaders of Israel will listen to God, will not do stupid things, will truly seek God in this time. And we've heard amazing testimonies of so many that have actually given their hearts and lives to Yeshua that weren't there, before the war. So things are definitely on the move. And the end time prophecy is being, is a countdown time, and it's being fulfilled in front of our eyes. And so now we see that he's pursuing this child because he knew that there will come a son, a child will be born. And the word says that he's going to crush the head of the serpent. And we know that Yeshua is going to be the winner in the end. And so he's going after this male child with everything that he's got. And so we see that if we continue reading the story about what is going to happen, we find that the dragon is furious. So he's this red dragon. He's enraged. He's got fire coming out of his mouth. And we know that when Jesus was resurrected, he was pretty angry because he thought that he'd wiped Jesus off the earth. It was finished. He put him in a grave. He sealed him up with a stone, and he'll never get out there. And so, surprise, surprise, that he did rise according to the prophetic word on the third day, and everything started to unfold just as it was prophesied in the word. But this dragon is very angry, and he decides he's going to go off after her offspring, which are the children of God, we that are made in God's image. And he wants to hurt God as much as possible. And so he then decides to make war against us, against Israel, and those who are following Yeshua as our Messiah. And so this whole war is being declared. So we need to be prepared. There will be an end time war. And this dragon who's been hiding, who's been shape-shifting, who's been playing around, hiding in the background so that we don't know about him, he wants to come as a shock and a surprise, wants to come at us. And so he's also portrayed as the good little dragon, the sweet little dragon. And even this the survivor that I've been working with said to me, when I started the journey with her 4 years ago, she said to me, but I love the dragons.
Yeah. The little kid in me does too. I can relate to her.
Yeah. And she says, they're all over my room. They're in the cupboard, they're in my drawers, and they're so sweet, these cute little dragons, and they puffs, little puffs of smoke, and I just love them. So when we finish, I'm going to read you her testimony.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that you can hear her story, how, what she's experienced. And so the dragon wants to destroy all of those who are followers of Jesus. And so you know that once you go through, when you get to the waters of baptism, it means you have truly thought about it, and you have counted, you weighed and you've counted the cost, and you are following Jesus through the waters of baptism, which means you die to self, you die to your own vision, your own purpose, your own world, and you are now totally giving yourself over to your Messiah and saying, Lord, let your will be done and not my will. And so that's who he's going to be after. We must be prepared. He will be after us. And he comes as a cute little dragon in all the Disney stories and all the rest to make us think, but he's sweet and he's kind. And then he starts blowing and puffing, and the fire comes out of his mouth, and you saw the teeth. So then we really see who he is and what his agenda is. Revelations 12:17 says, and then the dragon became furious with the woman, and he went off to make war on the rest of her offspring, on those who keep the commandments of God. So it's those of us, we've chosen to follow Yeshua, and we are walking in obedience to his word. He's called us. These are my commandments. This is how I expect you to live. This is how I want you to live. And so he's wanting to come to destroy us. So specifically those of us who are walking in obedience to his commandments, because he knows that those are the ones that he's got to be careful of, because we are understanding the word, we're studying the word, and we are not stupid when it comes to the end time schemes of the dragon, who's Satan. You know, in all, it is Satan. So what we then learn, what is the nugget that we've studied up to now, is that we've got the serpent, or the dragon, or the red dragon, this is how he's known, has one purpose in mind. He is furious, he hates us, he hates God, he hates everything that God has created, he hates God's creation. And we've spoken about this. We've spoken about the agenda of the enemy and how he's out to destroy everything that God has put in place. In Genesis, whether it's the plants that says that we mustn't mix the seed, whether it's creation in human beings, don't mix the seed, don't mix animal and human, it's not going to work. And so everything, the marriage, everything that you know, families that God has put in place, he wants to destroy. And so the next thing we see, firstly, he wants to destroy a man made in the image of Almighty God. And then secondly, to corrupt the earth completely. So, you know, we've spoken about how we should appreciate the world God has put us into, the beauty of the animals, you know, the beauty of the plant life around us. We just talking about going to the States. Our last weekend was a treat. We went to the mountains and we went to a lake. And so Kelly, they have, as a family, they have a cabin. And they took us to see the changing of the leaves. So that was a blessing and a treat. We only see it on postcards, you know. Leaves that change here too, but the beauty of what you guys see there is really something special. So the weekend there, Rolly went on the boat on the river and helped to put the boats away for the winter. And so it was really interesting, you know, to see that part of the world and to see the changing. So Kelly sent us more pictures of where the leaves are changing even more than what we saw. Wow. So, and then we visited a shopping, you know, like a little village there, which was lovely. So we had a good time, Carmen. It was great. It was really good. Okay, so we got to appreciate God's creation. So the principle of shape-shifting is also very key to understand the dragon, because he's going to shapeshift. He's going to hide. He's going to change what we think the dragon should look like, and this is the dragon, and then suddenly he shapeshifts. So we've got to be prepared for the shapeshifting. It's one of his big weapons. It's one of the ways that he does things. So I found this picture very interesting. Is of, we've got African witchcraft here, and shape-shifting happens a lot, but in Europe it happens all over the place. There's shape-shifting, but this is of a witch doctor who changes into an animal. And we have witch doctors that change and then go into the waters and go into the water and stay there for weeks. And they go to visit cities under the water, under the sea. So they're very, very clued up with the cities and the water spirits. And so they know exactly the dragons. They know these things. They see them, which the cult, wherever the cult is, will be able to see.
So in America, they they literally made it out like it's a psychological problem when you start seeing. So they showed this really funky face of a man, and he's got his eyes are like, and his smile's like the Joker, and they're telling people that if you see this, you're crazy, and that you might need help. And I really believe, I could be wrong, but I really believe they're trying to prepare us for the shape-shifting. And I was watching yesterday a clip, I'll send it to you, of this guy who was just on live. He has like a stream thing, and he was on live, and this man comes into the bar where they were sitting at, and his eyes are crazy, like, and his face is like just off, completely off. And it's funny because as soon as the man sat close to him, he could feel it. Like, you could see where he turned. And then he's like, what are you looking at? And the guy's eye literally went like this and then down and back up. And then the guy took off. But I feel like it's important we talk about these things because, let's say you were visiting America and you saw that happen in a restaurant you were in. You don't get afraid. You get prayerful. I would love any suggestions you have for handling this because we may be facing it.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think they're trying to, if you say you saw something like that, they're trying to say you're crazy, so you've got to be locked up. But it's coming, Carmen. We are going to see. I mean, in Africa, it's not strange to see something like this. If you're in the spirit world,
right?
Obviously, if you're not in that world, it's not something you see every day. But
right.
But it's more kind of believable here where we are because of the witch doctors. But I mean, the occult is the occult. The devil is the devil. Sometimes he dresses in a suit and he looks very smart, and sometimes he's in animal skins, but he's still the devil. He stays the devil. So the word that is used in the Bible when it speaks about the serpent that came to Eve and he made her a deal is called the Nahash. That is the actual Hebrew word for this entity that came to Eve. And these are the meanings of this Nahash. It means a snake, or an impressive, angelic, shining being. So that means that this Nahash, he looked like an angel. He's an angelic being. And for Eve to see an angel walking in the garden wasn't funny, wasn't strange, because there were angels in the Garden of Eden. And they did work and they did things around there. So this angel came walking to her, and he was so shiny she couldn't see his black heart, which is part of his hiding. It's part of his shielding. And so he came walking on 2 feet, on 2 legs, and he came up to her, and he made her this, suggestion. So it wasn't strange, but he was angelic. He was an angel. And for many of us, our thoughts, when we read the Bible, and it was always said a serpent. So there was a serpent, but also an angel. So in other words, it was a snake that was hidden inside an angel.
Yes.
He was angel and he was snake. Angel and snake. And so she, in front of her, this was happening, although she didn't have fear because she knew angels.
Right, right.
He came with his proposition, and what we then see is in the Garden of Eden, he came to her as the shiny one. And so that was like a picture that I felt, okay, the wings are dark, so there's something. Oh, yeah. And so